Most people would say that the life in nature is both free and beautiful. So did I, once long ago. Most people are romantic fools who never went more than 2 days away from their home villages, but I did. Torvan Gillinor. I whirl around, the swords already out of their sheaths, cursing myself quietly. A girl, no, a young woman, maybe 20, 25, stands in a small distance in front of me. How could she get that near without me hearing her? Have I gotten that careless? Are you Torben Gillinor, the ranger of Western Forest and the hero of the Battle of Deerleaf? Her voice is calm and confident, as if facing drawn blades were nothing out of the ordinary to her. I need to sound more calm and confident in her voice, obviously. Hero of the Battle of Deerleaf, I quickly suppress a grimace and muster her more carefully. Her bearing is like her voice, calm and confident like a noblewoman or a princess. And her eyes look like they had seen and understood more than a normal woman at her age would have. I sigh quietly. Sigh. Yes, I am Torvin Gillinor. Gillinor. And who are you, if I might ask? And for that matter, how did you get here? My name is Amartire. I watch her calmly, waiting. She answers my look wordlessly, and then finally continues. I have to come ask you to train me as a ranger. I stare at her, stunned. You have no idea what the life of a ranger is. If you did, you wouldn't want to become one. I snap angrily. I doubt that, but whether it is true or false, I want to become a ranger. Living in the nature is not as romantic as you might think, and the hero has almost always dead people on his shoulders, mate. The girl, Amartire, doesn't move or answers, and her green eyes look knowingly into mine. Look at those beautiful eyes. Oh, I got some choices. Did not expect this. All right. If she really wants to become a ranger, she will become one, even if I do not train her. Maybe I can help her to stay alive. I have better things to do than to teach fools whose heads are full of romantic nonsense how they can kill themselves in the wilderness. Just pick the top one, because I'm a good guy. With the fluid motion, I sheath the blades again. If that is really your wish, alright. It's spelled alright correct there, but not in the last sentence. She smiles and lets out a small sigh. Sigh. Apparently she wasn't as confident as she pretended, then bowed deeply. Thank you, Master Gillinor. A title is unnecessary. Call me Gillinor or Toban, however you like, I tell her, irritated. Thank you, Toban. The girl smiles and bows. And no bowing. When I command you to something, or not to do something, I expect that you will follow it immediately, and without arguing, because both our lives could depend on it. And probably will. I see the wisdom in your words and will heed them. Thank you. Arigato. That thank you was unnecessary, but at least she didn't bow this time. The last time someone bowed to me was just after we won. I quickly suppress the memory, and concentrate on my new student. Good. With that out of the way, how do you want to be called? Amartire, after all. That is my name. She replies quickly in a happy voice and grins. Didn't want to save. I turn around, begin to walk slowly through the snow, begging her to walk beside me. Ooh, scene change! So, what do you think you already know? Which skills do you believe you're already proficient in? I tried to like Dovrin, my mentor, when he asked the same question of me more than 10 years ago. Though I sound far harsher than I intended, she seemed to understand it, judging by her friendly smile. I'm skilled with the longsword and the bow. Longsword. Bow. Though not so much with the later. Later, of course. Looking at her stance again, I nod. She walks like someone who mastered at least the basics of the forms, though I suspect that she is no stranger to advanced ones, too. We will see what you can do with the bow later. What about the knowledge of the ways of the wilderness? She drops her gaze a little. I don't know much. Her tone is somewhat reluctant, sad, then she regains her spirit. That is what I want to learn from you. I can fight, but I do not know when I should. I can protect someone with bare steel, but avoiding the danger altogether is beyond me. Then I will teach you that, for whatever good or ill it will bring you. We both walk in silence. There are many sayings, but the purpose, the meaning of the way of the ranger is. And you want to know which one is correct? She nods lightly. Well, probably all of them are partly right and partly wrong, 'cause no ranger is completely like another, and we all have different, though familiar missions. I, for example, have dedicated myself to guarding these forests, helping and protecting both the humans and the animals who live here, and making sure none of the creatures which come from the west leave again. Other rangers work to keep the balance in the more civilized parts, making sure that the man does not oversee the needs of the nature, and nature does not kill the man. A few also walk in the dark, lifeless places in the far west, trying to heal what is left there, though the main mission is to act as scouts when history repeats itself. You could say that a ranger acts as warder of both nature and man, both with the steel and the wisdom, and that he may never surrender to darkness. But if one surrenders to despair, does one not also surrender to the darkness? I freeze immediately. Why do you... Before I manage to ask my confused question, my eyes spy a movement far in front of us, towards us, fast. Wolf. But if one surrenders... Shit. Go back. But if one surrenders to despair, does one not also surrender to the darkness? The animal continues to charge us. A man who does not see the world with a clear mind, but lets his vision be impaired by despair, will see an enemy and a friend to be, will not seek to live, but only to survive, and in the end, he will kill that which would save him. Maybe 5 seconds till it reaches us. But if one surrenders to despair, does one not also surrender to the darkness? Will see an enemy in a friend to be. I don't understand. Defending myself against an obvious attack has nothing to do with surrendering to the darkness. She's right, I had nearly forgotten the wolf is not my enemy. What? The wolf is not my enemy. It has never been. I know it will not kill me. Shit. It still continues to run. There are always more solutions than one can normally see, blinded as we are. Our eyes meet and I smile. Then the wolf passes by. Looking over my shoulder, I gaze after the animal. 'Tis good to see you smile. Hearing her voices somehow sounding differently than before, I look at Amartire. She too smiled as she did before, but somehow she looked more alive, happier, and in her eyes, I jerk my head looking forward. We should continue. We begin to walk quickly, Amartire following me without a word or question. I look into the sky, trying to clear my head. It looks like there will be a snowstorm soon. I know, she nods, though I don't look at her. I didn't look at her. Then we should seek shelter, shouldn't we? Her voice sounds normal again. Maybe it was just my imagination after all. It has to be. Yes, we are going to a cave I know not so far from here. Why did she sound and look like her? I shake my head again. Seems like we arrived here just in time. Outside, the wind becomes stronger and snow begins to fall again. I nod absent-mindedly. Any idea how long it will stay that way? A day or two, 3 at most. We both stare into the white. We have enough food and water, so do not worry. Amartire nods lightly. Sitting there without talking, I think about the day. First, I had been surprised by Amartire, who had gotten nearly into arm's length without my notice. Then she insisted in becoming my pupil, and shortly afterwards revealed that she already knew enough about sword fighting and only wanted to learn more about the wilderness in the way of the ranger. A while later, she corrected me about one of the principles of our philosophy, about something I had forgotten, no lost. Suddenly, a wolf appeared running towards me, and because of Amartire, I suddenly recognized that the threat I felt from it was made by myself. And while I was still in thoughts, Amartire talked like Sonia, and when I looked at her, I saw something in her that couldn't have been Sonia. Torvin, she prods me a little. Would you tell me about the Battle of Deerleaf? Amartire seems to be a little nervous. I gaze into the storm, then nod. Sure. I collect myself and then begin to tell her about what happened a little more than 1 year ago. Collecting myself. Let's do this. The orcs who live beneath the mountains come seldom out of their caves, and if they do, only in smaller groups most of the time. Sometimes, though, they gather in a large war party, breaking out of the caves and march pillaging eastwards. That was the case in the autumn of last year, when an entire clan left their homes and began to attack settlements in the Blue Wind Forest. We were just a group of 4, Golin the mage, Rolla, a warrior, and Zanya and me. I pause, trying to concentrate and suppress unwelcome memories. Maybe I shouldn't have agreed. Shaking my head, attempting to clear it, I continue with my tale. We spotted the bulk of the clan, nearly 100 warriors, marching directly toward Deerleaf, the largest village in the forest. Deciding we couldn't do anything alone, we hurried there, alarming the villagers, who then sent the people who could not fight farther east. Little less than 30 stayed, determined to stop the orcs. So did we. We set ambushes and traps, fighting the way rangers fought for ages against the darkness. And when the orcs finally reached the village, they lost half of their strength, while we had only taken minor injuries. The following battle, well, I do not really know how I should describe it. It was as chaotic as any battle I have ever heard of, going through fire into every direction, while Rolla made sure none came near to him. I struck down the king of the orcs with my blades. After the leader died, the orcs began to panic and flee, just to cut down by arrows. Around 90 orcs dies, and only 10 of us. I stopped talking and gazed into the snowstorm, feeling Amartire's questing eyes. I sigh silently and look away. Zanya was hit by an orc arrow directly to the heart while I was fighting with the king. I only heard about it afterwards. Ignoring the tears, I continue. I'm such a bitch. There was nothing we could do. She was beyond our healing, so we buried her into the wilderness as it is ranger tradition. Feeling Amartire's hand on my shoulder, I see he's talking quietly, looking into the darkness of the cave. I'm sorry, Torvin. Clearing my throat. I start to say something but stay quiet when she retracts her hand. So that's why you acted that way and tried to explain it anyway? Shaking my head, I stare at Amartire. How did you know that I tried to? I can sense how you feel sometimes, can't you too? Shaken, I nod lightly. So you closed your heart because you lost Sanda, who you loved? Yes, and I was wrong. You are a worthy friend. I tried. You are worthy. You are the right, and I apologize. You are a worthy friend. Amartire looks at me questioningly, and nods slowly. I understand. Thank you, Torvin. I have to thank you. Without you, I would not have found the light again, or had been able to open my heart again. I doubt that. She seems to be somewhat sad, but at the same time calm and happy. Storm died down on the next day. Amartire stayed with me a month. While I was training her, and afterwards we parted ways, though we still sometimes meet. The years that followed were more or less peaceful, and though I was always alone, I never again despaired. End 3. Lone Wolf. I just want to say, like, that was just a fantastic story, and it was like one of the most beautiful stories I have ever read in my life. I'm gonna go cry. So sad. Why did it have to